Hello everyone, I'm super excited for this new bullet journal video. So today I'm updating my month of February with all the books I've read, all the stats, and then I'm going to set up my cover page for the month of March. So, All That Shimmers by Kathy Ambrose was my first ARC read ever. I was super excited to read it because it's a historical fantasy with fairies. So, I was super intrigued and that's why I gave it a try. And I really liked it. I rated 5 stars because it was honestly really easy to read and the story was enjoyable. In terms of plot, the story is set up during World War I and is centered in a small town in the US. I don't know if it's fictive or not. I don't have good geography skills. But anyways, we're following the journey of Vanessa, who is a young lady and she is a nanny. And so she always had a lot of imagination and she always dreamed of becoming something more and not being worried about money and if she's going to get one more meal. So she's not really rich and she's trying her best to kind of up level her class. And so she ends up in this hotel in a small city in the US. And this hotel is super enchanting, from the beautiful woods to a beautiful pond. Vanessa is also thrown into a love triangle. She has to choose between a sweet and cute botanist named Avery and also a charming aristocrat called Ned. And then she suddenly hears the fairies' prophecies, and because of that, she really makes a bold choice. But while all of that is happening, you also have a Spanish flu that spreads, and so love and survival are at stake. So as I mentioned before, it's a really nice and easy read. I highly recommend the book, especially if you're someone that loves historical fantasy. However, one thing I want to mention is that in the beginning, I had a hard time getting into the book because it didn't have as much fantasy as I expected it to have. But in the second half of the book, the pace and just the plot picked up and I couldn't stop reading it. So now it's time to talk about Mystical. So it's one of my favorite webtoons ever, especially in terms of the art. I actually started reading it years ago, but I put it aside because I didn't want to pay for the chapters. I wanted to read it for free. And then time passed and I just kind of forgot about it. And then I went back on Webtoon and I saw it. And so I was like, okay, now it's time to finish it. And I'm so glad I did because it actually had a beautiful hidden meaning. So even though the main plot is about a love story between the two characters, the hidden meaning is that it talks about dreams that managed to become reality and dreams that slipped away. So I thought that it actually had a really deep meaning, even though I didn't notice it in the beginning because it's been quite a while since I started this series. But I highly recommend it, especially if you like webtoons and mangas, especially about love stories. It's a really beautiful one. Now let's talk about The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. This book was recommended to me by my sister, who absolutely loved the whole series, which is why I started reading the first book. I honestly don't read a lot of dystopian genres, and this book is a mix of dystopian with fantasy. It's just not an aesthetic that I really like, I would say, but nonetheless, this book really captivated me. For the plot, we are following the journey of Kiva, who is a 17-year-old girl who has spent the last 10 years surviving as a healer in the brutal prison called Zelindov, a prison that no one can ever escape and most people die within days, weeks, months, but no one usually survives for years. And then suddenly her life kind of takes a turn when a mysterious rebel queen is captured and Kiva is tasked to keep her alive but also heal her because when the queen was captured, she was really sick. And then suddenly Kiva received a message which says, "Don't let her die, we are coming." And so to protect them both, Kiva volunteers for the deadly trials which were meant for the queen. But since the queen cannot participate, Kiva was like, well, I need to do something since I need to keep her alive. And if she's not alive, then I won't survive as well. And so as she fights to survive, a lot of secrets keep coming and she forms new alliances that she didn't expect. I gave this book 4 stars because I did have a hard time connecting with the book in the beginning, just because I'm not really into the prison aesthetic. I'm more into enchanted woods and like forests and beautiful sceneries and stuff. But the plot is so amazing that it's what really kept me going. And once I finished the book, I immediately wanted to start book 2.